Great. Well, digital asset news, I get top stories in crypto, right on a bite-sized piece. So today we've got a lot of stuff to go over. So let's just jump right in. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. Most importantly, well, you probably hear because of the thumbnail and title, which suggests that there is a 4-year low as people are taking their Bitcoin off exchanges pretty rapidly. I'm going to talk about why that is and the positivity behind it. Also, we'll take a look at how FTX, the crypto exchange, is up 1,000%, and how they compare to other major exchanges. More specifically, we're going to take a look at Coinbase and where all their revenue is coming from. Hint, it's on you. And then lastly, we'll take a look at how Voyager wants a bonus, which makes no sense to me. So I'm going to call this one clown news. And then we'll take a look at some stable coins, why the U.S. government should really think about embracing it. So first things first, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Let's take a look at just a look about what it's like to DCA in this horrible market. And it looks like this. This was actually something that I had put together and put a little music to it. But this is essentially what it feels like when you are dollar cost averaging and you're just going through the motions as you see everything is just crumbling around you. And unfortunately, that's just how it is. It's just how it feels. And I know some days it doesn't feel like you want to do that. And I can totally agree with you there, because it's tough to keep putting in and not really getting too much out. But there is a payoff at some point. Just the thing is that it just takes a little bit of time. And I can't give you any financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But just remember, like when you're going through the motions, I know it feels like this, but there is a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. And if you just take a look at these 4-year cycles, this is exactly what I did last time. When it was boring and everything's moving sideways, I just dollar cost average. I know you're sick of hearing me say it, because I was sick of hearing YouTubers say it too back in 2018 when everything just collapsed. But it worked out to be okay. Just remember, bear and bull cycles, it's just a natural part of the markets. And that is just the truth. Now, you can do a lot of things like trading and going on leverage and things like that, but just don't get stuck like this. This was the total liquidations. You can find this at coinglass.com. And liquidations for longs and shorts just a couple of days ago. Today's the 22nd, right? 22nd, 4 days ago. As far as longs being liquidated, you had a total of $500 million worth of longs being liquidated. And you can do all those things and you can and make it. I'm not here to tell you what to do. It's just that just be careful out there, because days like these days, they're not too infrequent, as you can tell right here. So that's what the market is. That's what's going on. Oh, the market. You even got to tell you, it's boring. It's Bitcoin's down 0.2%. Ethereum's down, man, 18% for a week. I think you all know this because you check your portfolio. So why should I even say it? Sometimes I'd like to say just to give us a reference, but we're down 1%. We'll probably fall below $1 trillion. That's just how it is. And that's just the market that we are all involved in. So that's what's happening. Let me know what you think about it in the comments section, and don't feel bad. I mean, even the S&P 500 and NASDAQ is down as well. So we're still pretty correlated. NASDAQ down 2%. So that's what's up. Let's jump into our market, which is what I find fascinating. So this was a tweet put out by Glassnode. I thought they were full of it. I'm like, nah, that's not right. That can't be correct. But yeah, this is Bitcoin balances on across all exchanges. And you can see that in 2020, when there was like a nice little run up, people were putting their Bitcoin on exchanges probably in anticipation to sell when the bull run came around, and it definitely did, and people sold or they took it off. But as you can see, as of today, August 22nd, it's at an all-time low. And what is that? Well, I had to actually take a look at over at Crypto Quant. And this is also the same thing. Bitcoin exchange reserve for all the exchanges. And I was like, is that true? Is that right? But let me see if I can go in here. So the exchange reserve, this is even 17th of August, 2.3 million as far as Bitcoin. And if we have to go all the way back, 2.53, 2.5, 2.4, 4, 4, 4, 8, 2. Damn. All the way back to 2018 to when we saw this low amount of Bitcoin being on exchanges. What does that mean? Well, usually when people put a ton of their Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana or Cardano or whatever on the exchanges, it usually means that they're looking for a route to sell. But when they're taking it off, usually not all the time, usually means they're going to hold on to it for a little bit of time because they're going to put it in cold storage and that's it. So there's that reason. But I think there's another bigger reason at play. I think the reason why a lot of people are taking their Bitcoin and more specifically most of their crypto off exchanges is because they don't know what's going to happen with these exchanges. I mean, we just saw, Vault, we saw Voyager, we saw Celsius collapse, and who knows when the next one is to fall. So I know like people will rejoice about this and go, oh, this is great. People aren't going to sell. Doesn't mean they're not going to sell. Let's be honest. People are going to sell. Miners are going to sell. That's just how it is, the nature of the beast. But you have to remember that I think people are taking more of their crypto off of the exchanges because they're worried that some of these exchanges aren't going to last. And some will actually take it off because they aren't going to sell anyhow. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section. I think it's a positive and it's a good step in the right direction. Like even me, I was a little bit lax on that process of taking things off. And now it happens like clockwork. So that's what's going on in the for Bitcoin. Now let's take a look at a little article. And I think it's interesting about this one. How much FTX is making and how it compares to other exchanges, more specifically Coinbase. And before I move on, I will just say this, is that this is a free market society. If you're here to make money, that's your job, right? You have to answer to certain people. You have to pay employees. That's not what I'm saying here. What we're looking at is just the revenue process. So good for FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried for making a ton of money. Good for them. The question is, though, is how much is off the backs of the retail versus the institutional investor. So let's jump into this one. So FTX revenue grew 1,000% in 2021 amid the booming crypto market. Great. That's good stuff. FTX chief CEO Sam Bankman-Fried has confirmed media outlet CME's report that FTX grew by 1,000% in 2021. In a Twitter post, Sam Bankman-Fried said, "For what it's worth, numbers here are about ballpark. FTX's revenues grew to 1.02 billion in 2021. And that's from 89 million in 2020. Where else can you do that? Only here. That's an enormous jump. The first quarter, and then it breaks down even further. First quarter of 2022, FTX garnered 270 million in revenue. It was on track to touch 1.1 billion in 2022. FTX operating income was 272 million. So operating income up from 14 million. Imagine that, 14 million to 272 million. FTX net income touched 388 million, up from 17 million in 2020. So a pretty big jump. But I mean, in 2020, who was using FTX? Not a lot of us. So I got to give a round of applause to Sam for making this work. And remember, they are also involved with some different bailouts for different crypto companies. And the reason why is because cash on hand to do those things. They didn't do a ton of risky things. I mean, they took some risk, but not the majority big obnoxious risk that some took, and of course ended up failing. But the question I had then was, well, how big is FTX on the global scale? How big are they as far as a crypto exchange? There's a great website. It's called nomics.com. And you can find it. There's a link in the description. You can check it out. And you can take a look at the same data that I'm looking at. So first of all, the way that they sorted this was by an impact score. Impact score represents an exchange influence on the price of assets it trades, which is an important number, I suppose. But what I want to take a look at, and this is just in 24 hours. In 24 hours, you had 250 billion in transaction volume. If I wanted to sort this just by the volume percentage-wise, because first of all, let me go back to the impact score. FTX is number 5. Bybit is number 4, Coinbase number 3, OKX number 2, and Binance is 1. But if I just want to see like who's really trading and moving off and doing all these things, let's just take a look at volume percentage. Binance is killing everybody. I mean, it's just the big juggernaut that is. 24% of everything being done in the last 24 hours is being done on Binance. 6% by OKX. I don't even know really OKX. I don't use them. I don't think I can use them because I'm in America. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me in the comments. Bitwell, BingX, FTX is number 5. Oh, they're still number 5. Look at that. 3%. Bybit, X. But the things like Coinbase, 0.76%. What happened? Hit BTC, crypto market, P2B, big. I don't even know most of these. BitTrue, I've heard of Uniswap. I think most people are going to. So I just find it interesting that that's what's going on. And then it got me to thinking about this. Well, if FTX did such an amazing job as far as revenue production, and they're in the top 5, I'm going to take a look at the top 10. The one that I use the most would be Coinbase. This is actually the shareholder letter for Q2 of 2022. And I linked this in the description. You can check it out yourself. Pretty interesting stuff. And just so you know, you would think that, retail would drive the space, and it did for a while. But we knew that institution has been really ramping up the things they do, and now I can understand why. I mean, they want to make those impressive gains, right? So retail, this is in billions. The trading volume, not the revenue, just the trading volume. The very first part here. Retail did 145 billion, institutional did 317 billion, so about half, give or take, right? Retail in Q3, 93 to 234, 40%, something like that. Q4, 171, 371, about half. Q1, 74, 235. Okay, now we're starting to change things. Now it's about a third. And now here we are, 46 to 171, roughly about a third again. So that's just the trading volume. So I want you to remember this. Institution did 171 billion in trading volume. 171 billion, that's a lot of trading volume as compared to retail, 46 billion. So if retail only did 46 billion, an institution did 171 billion, who should be paying for those transaction costs for all those transactions? Who do you think pays for that? Well, I think you're not stupid. You know that we're doing it. But this was what was shocking to me. How much is it? How much are we paying as opposed to the institutional investor? Remember, they're doing, 3x what we're doing. Well, here's the net revenue from transaction revenue. Retail, 616. This is in millions. 616 million. Institutional, 39 million. Let me say that again. So retail, you, me, all retail, for the transactional revenue, 616 million. And institutional paid $39 million. $39 million. But yet, the trading volume was triple. So, again, I'm not here to fault anybody and say, hey, this is what it is. This is a free market. And I have no problems with Coinbase. It just is eye-opening. Just take a look at those things and go, wow, that's a big difference. It's like we're paying a lot than maybe we're supposed to. So let me just think about that in the comment section. I'm not going to dwell on it. It just is what it is. And of course, it's up to your decision to use whatever exchange that you want to use. I personally still use Coinbase. It is what it is. But I also use others. So that's what's going on. Let's move into kind of this, as I like to call it, is a little bit of clownish news. And I want you to maybe I'm wrong here in my thinking, and I could be. It happens. But when I take a look at this story where creditors object to bankrupt crypto lender Voyager paying out bonuses, I just think to myself, that's very clownish. That's very ridiculous. So here's what we got. Creditors of cryptocurrency lender Voyager Digital Holdings are objecting to the company's request for funds to pay out bonuses to staff, saying the employees are already well compensated. I got to tell you, I can't disagree with that. The creditor's objection came after Voyager on August 2nd to ask the judge to approve an employee retention plan that cost up to $1.9 million. Remember where that money's coming from. That's your money. That's our money. I have money in there. Creditors argued Voyager did not provide sufficient evidence to justify the retention rewards, nor did the company offer evidence that the 38 employees on the plan are at risk of resigning. Voyager said in its motion that these employees are exceptionally hard to replace in the marketplace because of their invaluable institutional knowledge and understanding of the cryptocurrency industry. And that's what we got. So I just want to make I just want to make things clear. The way this article is written, and I could be wrong, it's the company's request for funds to pay out bonuses to staff. So that would be on top of their normal salary. I mean, hey, people got to eat, right? So, you know, if you got to pay them a salary, you got to pay them a salary to keep them on, to move things forward. At the end of this month, we're going to figure out exactly who's paying for what, and who's actually going to buy out Voyager. I think it's going to be a pretty good one. But if it's a bonus, I got to tell you, I don't know if I would feel comfortable myself. If I'm working for a company that let down millions of people, I don't know if I could take a bonus for like, I'm doing a great job, guy, so give me a bonus. It just seems very odd to me. Anyhow, I could be wrong on how I looked at that. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. And let's finish up with why the U.S. government should really start to embrace stable coins. And here's why. This is a great article from Cointelegraph. And it states, Tether, Circle, and other stablecoin firms held $80 billion worth of short-term U.S. government debt as of May 2022. That's what the government wants. They want you to hold the debt, right? T-bills and stuff like that. So who's buying this up? Well, other countries can only do so much. But if these stablecoin operators want to do it, sure, so much the better. And it's a lot. So Tether, Circle, and other stablecoin firms accounted for 2% of the total market for US T-bills or treasury bills, holding a bigger share of T-bills than totally owned by Warren Buffett's investment giant Berkshire Hathaway. Stablecoin issuers have also outperformed offshore money market funds or MMFs and prime market MMFs in terms of their treasury bill investment proportion. So you got government MMFs, other foreigners. That's a lot, right? It's a lot. Federal Reserve, 326, foreign banks, 171, LGIPs. Stablecoin issuers are right in the middle at 80. That's a lot of debt to take on from governments, which is why it's always surprising to me that Gary Gensler is talking about the wild, wild west. We need to regulate these stablecoins so much. What are you complaining about? They're buying up this government's debt, and we are going into massive amounts of it. So in all honesty, I think they should be like tipping the hat, but like, hey, thanks so much for taking the hard course. We appreciate you. But of course, it's the opposite way. But that's just what's going on. I just found it a very interesting article. Anyhow, that's what we have for today for the news. And that will conclude just the news part. If you want to stick around for the Q&A, that'd be great. But if you got to take off, get out of here. There's a lot of things to do today. But thanks for coming by. I really do appreciate it. I do. Hit the like and subscribe on the way out if you could, or just at least a like. You know where to find me. It's not like YouTube's going to notify you anyhow if you subscribe to the channel. Only half do, and even that's even dwindling. So that's what's going on for the news today. And now let's jump into a little Q&A. I'll answer all your burning questions, the best of my abilities, and we go from there.